Welcome everyone to a quick class from Seating Dynamics. Today we're going to address determining resistance on the Seating Dynamics dynamic footrests. So dynamic footrests provide resistance to the client's movement, let's say as they're extending their legs. And this is done either through an elastomer, a spring, or perhaps a hydraulic. That resistance allows movement of the client, again, let's say into knee extension. It stores the energy in this component and it then allows the client to return to a starting position. Without this dynamic component, the client will move into extension and just stay there for a long period of time. So this resistance allows movement, returns the client back to their starting point. Now, the Seating Dynamics dynamic footrests move in up to 4 different directions. The footrests can telescope downward. They can elevate, allowing the knee to extend and the foot to move forward. So, combining the telescoping and the extension movement actually helps follow the natural arc of the leg during extension. The foot plates can move into plantar dorsiflexion and also can rotate outward in response to client forces. The telescoping feature moves downward about 1.5 inches, depending on the force the client exerts. And the resistance here is provided by a spring. So this comes with 3 different springs, yellow, green, and blue. And blue is the default amount. So it's important when you're looking at this during the fitting, during the delivery, that we're looking at what's the best amount of resistance for this individual. So you can install the correct level resistance by changing out the spring. You can even use a different level of resistance on each side if the client has more force through one side of their body. So how do we know that we have the right spring in there for this telescoping movement? Well, if there's really no movement observed in the client, then we know that a softer spring might be indicated. If the client's extending, but they're not really coming back to their starting position, then we may need a firmer spring. And again, if the client has more force on one side of their body, we can use differing springs on each side. Now, the springs are really quite durable. Generally, these are not going to require replacement for wear and tear. For knee elevation, there are 3 blue elastomers, a firm level of resistance, that allow the knee to extend or elevate and also then return to a starting position. And the resistance of these cannot be changed. It is important to check these at least twice a year because there could be wear and tear. There's more wear and tear on elastomers than there are on springs. Elastomers work better for this particular type of movement. So if you notice that the footrest isn't moving as smoothly as it should, if the client isn't readily returning to a starting position, then it might mean that these need to be replaced for wear and tear. Plantar and dorsiflexion resistance also cannot be changed. There are a blue or firm level of resistance provided by elastomers that allow this movement up to about 10 degrees in either direction. But these elastomers can wear out and again should be checked about twice a year. And this is gone through a little more in our maintenance quick class. There are written and video instructions available on the website on how to change the level of resistance on the dynamic footrest. So, bottom line, the optimal level of resistance is really important to make sure this is functioning correctly for an individual client. Make sure the resistance is optimal. Work with your team to change this out as needed. And then check those springs and elastomers, particularly the elastomers, about twice a year to make sure they do not need to be changed for wear. Some clients are going to wear these out even quicker than that if they're using a great deal of force, if you're seeing a lot of force through their body. So keep an eye out for that. And finally, feel free to contact us if you have any more questions. Thanks for joining us for this quick class, and I hope to see you for one in the near future.